Welcome to the Tuesday, July 16th, 2024 regular city council meeting. Glad you could all make it tonight on this beautiful, not so warm as it's been Tuesday evening. Would you please all join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please, Misty.
Clements.
Here.
DeWater.
Here.
Morris.
Here.
Weir.
Yes.
Smock.
Here.
Number 4 on our agenda is approval of the July 16th, 2024 agenda. Would you please give a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 5 is public discussion. If you would like to address the council and myself, please come up to the podium.
Good evening, Council and Mayor.
Good evening.
I thought over a thing I heard at the last meeting, and I think it made a lot of sense at the beginning of the meeting, and I hope it carries on to every meeting. Mayor, when we were talking in the audience, you said, gentlemen, we need to come to the podium if we're going to talk so people can hear you. The back table never comes up. Officer Dean does once in a while. Mr. Shares never, very seldom comes up. And you made the comment, and I listened to a couple, 3 past meetings. You can't hear anything from the back table when you ask questions. So what I'm asking is possibly go back to what it was when former mayor was here and they sat up front. They still got safety and security to look out the door. And then when they need to come up, they're right here to come up and ask her to address the issues that the council or the people ask. That's why I that. Okay,
Thank you, Steve.
no problem. Thanks.
Anyone else this evening? Go ahead. Okay. Number 6, approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 7 is approval of the resolution calendar.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Clements.
Yes.
DeWater.
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
Weir.
Yes.
Smock.
Yes.
Thank you. Number 8, Resolution 6859, authorizing no parking on the west side of Heather Avenue from the southern point of the cul-de-sac to Norma Avenue. As I stated in the email, council had sent a letter to everybody on that portion of Heather. City Clerk Misty Marin had received some responses.
Do you want me to read them or just? They are all, there's 4 of them here and they're all for no. They don't want to change it, to keep the parking the way it is.
I'd like to hear them read.
Okay. So I have, do you want their names and addresses if they provide them? Okay. Janet Maxville, 214 Heather. She says, in my opinion, parking on the west side of Heather Avenue is to leave the parking as it is. And then, Jerry Harms just brought his letter in and said, prefer no change, leave it as it is. And then I had, Carrie Taylor. She sent an email that said, this is a very bad idea to put no parking on the west side of Heather. First of all, I already have problems getting my mail because people park in front of my house and mailbox, so the mail carrier won't deliver, and now you want to force more people to park on the east side of Heather. Second, there are only about 7 street parking areas on the east side of the street because driveways and fire hydrant. So when people are visiting, they may have to park on the first half of Heather or Norma at times. I have a blind brother-in-law and he walks with a walker, so it will not be easy for him. Third, parking on both sides is only difficult sometimes when Iowa is playing and my neighbors have gatherings or when the neighbor's band is practicing, which is not very often and does not warrant a year-round no parking ban. Third again, what happens when winter snow comes along? It makes it worse for the east side of the street if people are always parking there. Thank you for letting me voice my concerns. She also sent in a second email on behalf of Debbie Bailey. She said she contacted her. She had to leave town this week, but did want to know there is already no parking by her house on the cul-de-sac, so limiting the parking up the street will make it difficult for all the houses in the cul-de-sac. And then she also asked the question, how many side streets have one-sided parking in Evansdale?
I don't have the exact number, but it's not uncommon to have one side be no parking.
Are there
So-
any,
Should I speak?
yes, please, John, if you're a person that lives on that block, then we would love to hear from you.
Yeah, I live at Patrick Dean. I live at 215 Heather, and I think it would be a really bad idea too. It's not a narrow street, and I never heard of limiting parking to one side. We don't have a trouble. There's a lot of people that get together and stuff, but I always find a parking space, and I don't very often have to move my cars out, but once in a while we do. But it sounds like a really bad idea to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dan Varney, 228 Heather. I live at the north side of Heather Avenue at the cul-de-sac. And when the neighbor has parties, yes, it is difficult getting down both sides. It is not a narrow street. No, it's not. But it is narrow when we have two parking on both sides. Steve and I, if we want to, Steve and I discuss it. I figured everybody'd send in a thing. I think Jerry's corralled all the no's he can. So I think we should get input from everybody. I had a list made up, and I was going to go around and discuss with everybody and get everybody's input. I'll be happy if the majority says no, but just to have 5 as opposed to the other not have any input, I'd like to have everybody in the neighborhood to have, before we basically table this. I think we basically should have a neighborhood vote from Norma up to the north side of the cul-de-sac.
Well, I did also talk to Miss Emily O'Connor. She lives right on the corner of the west side,
Yeah,
the last house,
the least,
right
the
on
least,
Norma.
the least affected.
Yeah, Norma, and she was, she said either way was fine with her.
Yeah. So, but-
So I just want to let you know that, so you don't
Yeah,
have to
no,
stop
I-
by her
I
house.
appreciate that, and, but.
I
no,
kind of
just-
figured Steve and Kathy Oranger might be here, but I'm sure they've got
No,
something.
I
personal.
talked to Steve, I had the list because I didn't realize, we had discussed last time if I wanted to discuss with the neighbors.
Yeah.
So I'd made up a list, and I went over to talk to Steve. Meantime, Jerry had said he got his letter. I didn't get my letter the same day. So I had started my list, and Steve basically had signed it. So Steve and I are adamant about what we think, because we're up there and it affects us probably more than it affects Jerry. But meantime, like I said, if we've got 13 neighbors and, 7 neighbors say they want to leave it the way it is, I'm fine with that. But I just think it's something that needed to be looked at, and it is congested when he has parties, and they are quite regular. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Varney.
I make a motion to table that resolution.
Okay,
I would second that motion.
roll call, please.
Clements,
Yes.
Dewater,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Weir,
Yes.
Smock.
Yes.
Excellent. We'd be more happy to get your feedback.
I'll take my list around the neighborhood.
It'll be on the next agenda, which is going to be August 6th. 9, Resolution 6860, setting date for the sale of general obligation corporate purpose bonds, Series 2024A, and authorizing the use of a preliminary official statement in connection therewith.
I'd move passage of resolution 6860.
I'll second it.
Sandy's got it.
Roll call.
Clements,
Yes.
Dewater,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Weir,
Yes.
Smock.
Yes.
Number 10 is request from Fire Chief to purchase extractor for gear cleaning in the amount of $8,343.47 from McQueen as budgeted for FY '25.
Mr. Phillips, could you come up here, please? I just have a couple quick questions.
Don't make it complicated. I don't know wash machines too well.
Okay. Well, In the best of your understanding, I see we got two bids. In the best of your understanding, is the less expensive machine just as good a quality?
Yes.
That's all I
The main
need.
difference in them, the one requires an installation kit for.
Yeah, it looked like the other one just had a lot more to it, that, may not necessarily be needed.
It's mainly the installation kit that's was
Yeah,
thousands, some
yeah,
dollars, I think
yeah.
it was, so.
So, okay, I just wanted to make sure that going with the cheapest option wasn't going with the worst option.
No, they're both
so-
equally good.
All right.
The one in, Adam, the other piece off of it, that it goes off nicely, and because these were so much harder to price, and the same thing of why we were trying to get Juicy, if you could get it well, is that NFPA symbol,
Yep.
or I guess not symbol, but the number of the 1851. As soon as we slap that on there, it
Price
puts a
goes
lot
up.
of, yep.
Yeah,
not only
that
does
was the
price
dead
go
end
up,
I
but
kept
it's-
hitting on my end.
You gotta be specialized to sell it, to do it, to service it, just
Yep.
because it has to follow certain federal regulations for specifically firefighting. So it's not a standard washing machine, it's not even a commercial washing machine, so, I was glad the chief could at least get two quotes for us, so, because I was scared we were only gonna get one.
And thanks, Adam, for looking into that as well on your end, so.
Absolutely, yeah.
he was-
I would approve, the purchase of the extractor.
I'll second that.
Okay, weird.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Thanks, chief.
Council, number 11, council to consider the purchase of Christmas decorations. Ours originally were purchased, I don't know, several years ago. The ones we currently have, we're constantly buying bulbs for them. We have a little bit of extra just because some of the projects that came in a lot less than anticipated. And Dottie and I just got visiting about the banners as well, because they're like in shreds. The Evansdale Chamber and proceeds from the Evansdale Days, we're gonna actually buy the banners. So it does, we're talking about Christmas decorations. It seems weird to do Christmas in July, but it's kind of a thing if you watch Hallmark. I was like, okay, I'm over this. Anyway, we got some really competitive pricing. Matter of fact, that's what they believe they spent on it years ago. This is actually just for consideration, not really needing to make any decisions tonight. I think I would actually even like to get another quote, but I just wanted to check the temperature in the room and see what y'all thought.
I think it's a great idea, because the other day I drove down River Forest and there was one in shreds. It was as bad as a flag that has shredded ends. To me, it looks very, not a very good picture for our city.
And Sandy, this is just on the Christmas decorations, because the banner is gonna be another project outside of the city, so.
So it's 26 snowflakes.
I believe it's 40, isn't it? Oh, no, did we just do 26?
40 banners.
Chris? Banners are 40, right, 26,
26.
yeah.
Presidential.
They're 6 foot tall.
Presidential snowflakes.
And we could just do the regular white, or there's like a blue and a white that
Okay.
we thought were really nice.
I've had citizens approach me asking about, Christmas decorations.
Last year, we didn't put them up. They are in a sad state of affairs. I really don't know when they were purchased, but I know it was before I started working for the city. So it's been a minute.
Do you have any idea, Chris?
They were actually, when the chamber was going good and strong, they were purchased by the chamber and area businesses, so.
Well, I can see that, nice, pretty decorations would be nice. Keeping the cost to the, citizens in mind.
Sure.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe some of the businesses along the strip could help pitch in, or other citizens will,
And
in
we,
the
we
city.
thought about that too, but, recently, due to our upcoming event on July 26th and 27th, the celebration for the 75 years of our fire department. We have been asking all the businesses for donations. So, but it's a good idea.
Was
And
there
I'm not opposed to that.
Was-
I'm not opposed to that
Was
at all.
there any lead time to get them? Or was it just?
I
you
don't
said
believe
you
so.
want
I
'em
think
and you
they're
got
in
'em?
stock. And again,
Okay.
I mean, we don't have to make a decision
So
on
it's
this
not an
tonight,
act
but,
now.
How was the decision made to get snowflakes? I mean,
because they're pretty and they're least expensive.
residential snowflakes.
You know, they're non-denominational. If you put a Santa or a reindeer or sled or something over, you almost have to take them down right after the holidays. You know, snowflake, you can leave up, you know, all winter if you want to.
This is true.
Just a
I never
thought.
thought about that. The Christmas decorations are highly expensive.
They are.
And this is like one of the least expensive ways to go and still have a quality product. So,
I mean, $650 doesn't seem like that much by itself, but when you multiply it by 26, it's a big number, you know?
yeah,
Yeah, I'm all for Christmas. I'm all for trying to line our downtown and trying to accent the areas of our town and community. You know, the banners are out, or even when the Christmas tree was put up the last year, yes, we get a lot of comments and things on it. So, I am all for not necessarily putting it on the agenda to write a check for this right now. I would love to look into options to other things out there. I understand the timing, you know, and I guess I'm okay myself, that if we don't quite get them this year, okay, but it's something we can plan and move for. In talking just on the side, bringing it up obviously now so that the public can hear as well, with my colleague to my right, I would like to almost leverage, not right now because we have just obviously wanted to ask for donations and things back from businesses, but almost put in some thought to figure out, not just writing the city a check to sponsor one of these, but what could be done with it? You know, is it a small banner that could be you know, that we could make up to put underneath it, you know, this ornament, this decoration sponsored by this business or something to give some, recognition back as well. And again, it's total spitballing. I don't know what it would look like or how it would come out, but, I would like to leverage at least some of the relationships and things in the future, even later this year as we get closer to the winter time, to see if at least, $650 by itself isn't terrible, but when we do it 26 times all at once, it takes chunks. So even if it's 10 or 13 of them, it's still a less cost off of an item. Certainly want to look at doing something. I'm definitely not saying no, but I would love to be able to see if we could leverage any additional business or chamber type relationships around as well. We've had some good businesses in town, and we've had new ones move in that have been great advocates for our city as well. That
Absolutely.
I could see this being something, a possibility of them at least entertaining.
What sort of lead time, do you need to order something like that?
well, I have no
Well, we're
idea.
6 months out.
I think she said that they were in stock.
Yeah, they said they were in stock. I mean, you know, obviously this time of year, people aren't thinking about Christmas decorations.
Oh, some are,
Yeah.
sick people.
Yes!
The ones that are going on the Great Light Fight on ABC. There you go.
Yeah.
We didn't have Christmas decorations last year, so we got a lot of complaints about that, by the way.
In line with what Justin was saying, Mary Catwick was telling me they were very active in the chamber when those were purchased. And according to her, there was a metal tag or some method of letting people know who bought those individual and
I
who
remember
sponsored
something like
those.
that.
So maybe we can, again, incorporate something like that. You know, a family or a business or whatever.
The only problem is those were so small, you couldn't read them driving down Lafayette.
Yeah.
Or
So
if
they
you were
didn't-
trying to, it was a little hazardous.
Matter of fact, I want to give you a little bit of trivia. Are you ready?
We're ready.
You know this already, so you can't
can't guess.
participate. How long do you think the banners are? Just off the top of your head.
Think what are?
How long do you think the banners are that are currently up?
6 foot.
Okay,
I'll go 10 foot. I think they're a little bigger.
really?
Yeah? No?
Wow.
Wow.
Okay, 3 foot.
I thought 4 foot.
They're 48 inches, which really surprised me. They're
Okay.
huge when you're holding one up. You know what I'm saying? But they look teeny up there.
I've never had them off the
You
pole.
have one in your office.
Yeah, I have one in my office actually, and I was like, wow, I just can't believe it's this big, right? You
I
know?
guess 2 feet, so.
Yeah, that's what I would have guessed too. But
Yeah, when you're standing on the ground, it looks a little different.
yeah, exactly.
Even from a gator, they don't look 4
So,
feet.
you know, we need to have something substantial in size. That's kind of my point. We need to have something that is at least 6 feet to to be able to even see it. And there's other things out there that you all might want to just look around. I can send you these 3 main ones that seemed like to be pretty popular companies, and I've been getting flyers from them for years. So, but yeah, we'll
Yeah, no, I
do
think
some
it's a-
more
I think it's a
searching
great idea
around
to at
and-
least explore.
Yeah, yeah, excellent. Any other feedback? Okay,
Merry Christmas.
in July.
Ho, ho, ho.
12, council to consider the sale of lot on Bright Street. This is something that the city has, can move forward on a dilapidated, the house that was at 111 Bright was red tagged. The repairs weren't being made. It actually wasn't livable, and the city went through a process called Chapter 657A of the Iowa Code, and acquired this property through that process. Long story short, you know, we took it out for bid at that time, and long story short, it didn't end up going anywhere at that point. So,
What year was that, Deanne?
2021. At that, and then just the resolution I handed out to you back in July of 2015, we set a resolution for a fair market value of 10 cents per square foot for an unbuildable city property. And if you can look by the Blackhawk County Beacon photo of that property, it has to have a 30-foot setback from the property line, both ways. So that's why it's considered an unbuildable lot. I actually figured you probably could build something about maybe 400 square feet.
I was gonna say tiny.
A tiny home. So, that being said, and, you know, back then when it was brought to council or whatever, it was like, well, we'll just get a variance. And I'm like, I don't think the city can get a variance on their own lot. So, for someone to build,
What's the square foot on that? I know we figured at one time, but 2,500 or?
I don't think I
you
can,
do
I
the
can look it
math
up on
that,
here.
Miss?
I got it.
I was, okay, good. You know what, it was like, I think it was somewhere around 9,000. So it would have ended up at 10 cents, it would have been like, it was 900 and some dollars. And that's just a starting bid for this property, because that's what I'm looking for.
I thought it was somewhere around 500 as the base, but anyway, so 10 or 15 cents a square foot,
Yeah,
and then we take the best offer over that.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. And I did reach out to Chris Fischels, as you saw, as noted on this
Yeah.
resolution. And, you know, again, that was back in 21 when things weren't overinflated in pricing, but I don't think they're gonna go backwards. You know, and then we've had our reevaluation from our county. So I don't think it's unreasonable to do the 15 cents, but I definitely want your opinion. And of course, we'd have to do that by resolution.
Do we have anybody interested in purchasing it?
I actually do know of two people that I would let know right away, and of course, we'd advertise.
And the owner of the property right in front, Larry Weisenberger, was very interested in it at one time. But his lot is not really very buildable.
By itself.
And this isn't. So he was interested in making one big lot out of it. In fact, I think he brought an offer to the council that was rejected.
Well,
I don't think he actually, yeah, I think he talked about what he would pay for it, especially with you, because you were mayor at that time. And his health is really bad, so I don't think he's gonna be entertaining anything, but I don't know that for a
Yeah.
fact.
Yep, what I've got
I
on,
guess I do.
9,920 square feet, so
Yeah.
just under a quarter an acre, 160 by 62. But obviously, if you look at it, it shrinks very quickly. So.
Yeah, it just has it, because it narrows down on the
Yep,
one side.
the triangle kind of shape to it rather than a square. And then according to the taxation of the land value for 22-23 pay was 9,700. Was the taxed value.
are we going to let somebody build on that? I mean, then why are we considering selling it?
You know, the two adjacent property owners are interested in it.
Okay, well, if that's who it is, then,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Then it makes sense,
I-
but otherwise it doesn't make any sense to be
this
bothered
was something
about
that was near and dear to get on the agenda for,
I remember hearing him say he wanted to get it up there.
Counselor.
If
Well,
somebody's
yeah,
buying
you know,
it,
Counselor
it's-
Dewater.
it only makes sense if they're gonna use it
Yeah.
and do something with it.
Well, they're gonna pay taxes on it.
Well, there's that.
And right
And if
now,
it's the
there's
adjacent
nothing.
landowner, it makes sense.
And I think it's like, what, $10,000 is what the city is asking, isn't it?
We were.
Yeah, well, still are.
Oh, do you believe so?
You haven't reduced the price, have you?
Well, I would believe right now that it's valued at 10 cents per square foot,
Well, we
up to
haven't changed
15
that.
cents per square foot.
I thought the council instructed you to list it for $10,000 or to advertise it for
A
$10,000.
couple years ago,
Well, what's changed?
we didn't get any offers.
Mayor,
So
I had a little
it-
input.
As far as I know, it's still for sale at $10,000.
Listing expired.
2 years ago, when we had this come up, Dick, and you should know this, we talked about the cost to tear it down and all the work we involved. Mayor, I may be wrong, but I thought it was around $5,000. The city did a good job of tearing it down, hauling it away, and we had that figure to deal with. So then we came up with this figure, like Mr. Dewater is saying, well, are we gonna make some money on the lot? I honestly feel as a taxpayer in this city, if we, and you can check the records, I don't have them, but if whatever we spent on it to tear it down and clean it up, we should at least get that instead of just giving away, giving away, and giving away. And it's not being a good neighbor to do that. It's not good financial sense. I full-heartedly agree. If we had 5,000 in it, list it for 5,000 and go and see what it says. But I think the mayor could find those numbers when I was on the council that we came up. How much?
$3,304.48.
Okay, well, 3,000, that's 3 times what Dick is wanting to sell it for. So I'm just saying conscientious, we ought to be looking a good steward of our money. I know it's a small spot. I know there's 1 or 2 that are very interested in it at this time, because I've talked to one of them. I know who it is, but I won't go into that now. But I think we should at least get what we spent with our city staff tearing it down, hauling it away, and cleaning it up. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to know if we could get the name and address of the speaker,
Of the what?
the person speaking.
Sure, thank you.
We're not doing that at this time.
Well, are you looking for a motion or something? But
Well,
are we
I'm-
just in discussion?
Okay, so this is what I would hope to, by putting it on the agenda, is where are we gonna start the bid at? Because that's a whole process in itself. So we have to start the bid, we have to set a date for a public hearing. You know, there's quite a bit that goes in that. So I'm looking for feedback from you guys of where would you like, where would you entertain the starting of this bid at for this unbuildable lot?
Well, I make a motion that we start the process at 15 cents a square foot.
Okay.
I agree.
So, and just to wrap it in, because I want to make sure I understand the additional costs, I do understand Mr. Siebel's argument. But on the flip side to it as well, since the city owns this, we're not generating any taxable revenue off of it, correct?
And we're mowing it.
And we're having to spend money to maintain it.
That is correct.
Okay, and again, it may not be much, but it's, even if it's something, so. Then we also have any additional liability. So if a tree falls down, damages something, somebody gets hurt on it, it's still additional city property, right?
That's
So
correct.
even though it's a small piece, it is still under that liability umbrella. Okay. Yeah, I guess, would I love to be able to try to get at least the money spent back on it? The $3,300 aforementioned? Absolutely. Would I have loved to get 10 grand for it? Yeah, even better. But I think at this point, the 10 grand didn't go anywhere. I don't know if the 33 will be any better. If we want to reach back out to, because again, it's probably going to be somebody that's living right by it. Because somebody who's even a block away, that's not going to do them any good for any reason. I could see a small shed or, a nice outdoor area to sit down or somebody making use of it. But that's about it. I don't see any livable dwellings by any means.
Except you can't do that.
So they wouldn't be
You
able to
couldn't
put,
put a shed or a garage or anything like that.
No accessory building, not unless you have a house.
oh, okay.
Well,
Since it's-
if the adjacent landowner bought it and combined property, then they could do that.
Yes.
Now,
that would
they
cut
wouldn't run
across-
into any issues with
Be the street.
yard, because like they couldn't have a certain building in the front. What do you call the front? I guess it'd be the one that faces Bright Street, but just wondering if, because it faces Highway 20, certain things can't be built to be seen in certain ways. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, if it's not an adjacent landowner, it doesn't make any sense for anybody else to buy it if we're not going to let them build on it.
Right. Yeah.
I would hate to see, what did we say? It was 9,900 square foot. It seems like giving it away at 15 cents a square foot. But at the same time, it's releasing us from a lot of expense. Well, not a lot, but over the long term, it could be. So,
Well, yeah, I just want to say, over the years, we have disposed of a lot of property this way.
Yeah, we have.
And it's a way to get it back on the tax roll. It's not trying to recoup every penny that we spent on this place. It's more like getting it back in use, and hopefully a neighbor uses it and takes care of it.
Yeah.
And just for quick math, because I had to title it up too, because I was making it way more complicated than it needed to be, it's about $1,500. Would be about 15 square foot.
And
Obviously,
again,
the-
that would just be the
10,000
starting
down.
bid. We have to set
Yep.
a minimum.
and I would make it contingent, buyer pays all costs involved with
Like
paperwork
closing
and
and-
whatnot,
yeah.
closing costs. So it's not costing the city anymore to do this any further, so.
Was the ultimate goal to get rid of an unsightly property?
Yes, it was.
So we've accomplished that
Yes, we did.
at the very least.
Yeah.
Did you say you had a 3,300? Shane Henniger, 422 Brookside. You said you had a $3,300 offer on it before?
No,
Wait, was
that's
I
what
hear
we
right?
spent, removing the house.
okay.
Yeah.
So do
And-
you know that someone with an adjoining property was interested in buying it?
Yes.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Wouldn't it, for the tax purposes, be better to pursue that avenue? Because if you had a conjoining property there, they could build on the two.
Yes,
or no adjoining property?
that's what we're doing.
Okay.
Yep, same
Make
thing.
sure I share
That's the
right.
hope.
Yeah,
Sure.
no, you're good.
No,
Mr.
Shane,
Henry,
I-
you're set.
You're
And
just getting clarification.
Slow, you know.
while it is highly unlikely that anybody that doesn't have property adjoining is going to bid on it, we still have to give everybody the opportunity.
Yes.
So
Well,
that's the
what
hard
I'm
part,
thinking is the
but
The tax benefit for the city on it.
at least something.
If a adjoining property bought it and used it that way, it, you know, made this one property.
Yep, to get something. Well, any private sale would turn it over. Now, again, if they can't build on it or anything, it's just the land value, but it's better than what we're getting right now. Because
Yeah.
right now, we're actually having to continue maintenance and put money into it.
Yeah.
Might be minimal, but it's still money out with nothing coming in. So,
Well, I agree with both you, Dick, and you, Justin, with the statements you've made. And if we were to set a price of 15 cents, that would make all unbuildable properties start out at the same base. And if we have two interested adjoining property owners interested in it, maybe by competition, we might get close to that 3,000 threshold and not eat quite so much and be coming out ahead by not having to maintain it and getting it on the tax rolls. So the long picture, to me, is better to look at than the short picture.
Dick, I'll second your motion for 15 cents per square foot. I think we need to move forward at this point.
And just for clarification, for anyone that's listening this evening and audience, that is a fair market value of 15 cents per square foot on unbuildable city property. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
So that'll come back as a resolution next meeting?
It will.
Okay.
Come back as a resolution setting the date of a public hearing and taking bids. And also updating that resolution to 15 cents per square foot for unbuildable property.
And we'll get an exact square foot number,
Yeah,
because that sounds a little odd, Justin.
I think it is
Beacon.
though, yeah,
Blackhawk County, Iowa.
yeah.
That's what it
Oh,
shows
it
right
was-
now. Yeah, this is right off of Blackhawk County's real
Oh,
estate
you know
mapping.
what it's on?
Yep, yeah, I pulled it right up.
The
for
thing
what
that's
was the
weird
latest.
about that piece of property is it's really long.
That
It's
triangle.
162.
Well, it's that triangle shape is where most
Yeah,
properties are
and
some
it's
form of square
literally goes
rectangle.
like that. Yeah. Mayor Council reports, and my portion of the Mayor Council reports is, I would like to have Justin talk about the 75th anniversary.
Well, just throw it right on me, Dean, thanks. I'm totally unprepared. Good thing I can think on my feet, so. Yes, so, absolutely happy to talk about that. Thank you for the time. Obviously, we've been talking about it for a while. Any fun training I've always been through is you gotta tell everybody 7 times before it might stick, so we're at least 5 or 6. But July 26th, 27th, so 1 week from this Friday and Saturday, so the following. Starting Friday evening, yes, it's a little different, but because of logistics, we had to shift stuff around to try to get everything in on basically these 2 days. We are starting with the annual parade. The route is very similar to what we've had in the past, where it comes up Evans, across Lafayette, and down River Forest again. Staging will be on Central, so just like we've had in the past, coming off of River Forest. The parade will start at 7. So we did have to, again, kind of fight with logistics and timing to get people off work, to give them enough time without being too late. We didn't want to necessarily be doing it at 10 o'clock, but this was kind of the happy medium. Following the parade then, and for those that don't want to sit through the parade, we are starting up music at 7 o'clock at the Community Response Center as well. So for those that just want to head straight down there, they certainly can. Followed by a DJ that evening, and then the fireworks at dusk. So we're expecting probably around 9:45. Saturday then will be set with events all day that will also align right with mud volleyball. So not only will we have mud volleyball, but we're actually pushing the offset of those further back. We're bringing in a kid zone sponsored by our very own Cedar Valley Youth Sports. We're having food vendors. We are adding in a car show this year that will be actually out on the roadway. I believe it will be Gilbert. We're requesting to be closed for that, if I remember correctly. along with music in the afternoon, and I think we settled, if I remember correctly, an acoustic set starting around 2 or 3. There is then a band that starts up 5 or 6, and then the headliner starts at 7 till 11. So a lot of different music choices, a lot of variety. The Kids Zone, again, being sponsored, is completely free. The mud volleyball, of course, will be going on for spectating. The car show will be there. A lot of other additional events to echo that around will also be featured. Our Facebook page is the best place to go to find all that. We also are highlighting our sponsors starting this week, including the Chamber and City of Evansdale are the first 2 out announced for the Diamond sponsorship. And then all the other events, timings, if you have questions, message. The group that is putting it together is not just the fire department, the association piece. We've had a lot of other volunteers come in and step up, including City Hall as well, that has kind of helped with some sponsorships and things for us. I will get a full list of the volunteers out as well, because they certainly need to be recognized, because they have been working their tails off. So it is a lot to put these things on, and I really hope that we can get the positive feedback that we've gotten in the past to understand we're doing everything we can to do something fun in our community, bring good things to our community, try to keep costs down to do these fun things in our community, but then also make it, as inexpensive or potentially free as we can, and really try to bring it. So I know there's, well, I'll just be honest, it's very easy to always condescend or say something negative about what we can't do. I really hope people will stand up to support and show what we can do, and really help make the event a great one. So, knock on wood, it just isn't terrible, crazy, stormy weather. And yes, I'm knocking on wood, because we got a lot lined up.
Perfect. Anyone else on council?
He does a good job off the cuff.
And they're looking for volunteers, so.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, too. So please also visit the Facebook pages. If you know anybody, also feel free to contact. If you're not a social media or an internet person, we'll take signups for you and get you signed. We're using an online platform that has been used, I believe, even last year to really kind of help fill the shifts. It's anything from working the beer tent for beer pouring, from taking money and selling the tickets, to just simply kind of groundskeeping and just, hey, do trash cans need cleaned up? We'll come over and help. To just, again, watching the event, just helping anywhere it's needed, because without volunteers, these events do not happen.
So Deanne, were you gonna speak to the meeting with Kyle?
I was going to, but I am in the process. I got a couple more. I never heard back from that mechanical engineer that you had sent me. I kind of wanted to wait for that next step to see what our next step is. But I think I've talked to all of you, but I'll say it again. Last Friday, we met with Robbie Hardware out of Marion, and, he told me more about the system, and it was really quite interesting. One of the major points of the whole conversation was we have a 20-ton geothermal system. A 20-ton geothermal system requires about 30 gallons a minute. So we're not out of line for the water we're using. Generally speaking, you're not going to run your air or heat 24/7, because that 1.2 million a month is about what we'd be using if we did it 24/7. We should be using around 698,000 to 700,000. The guy was very interesting. Dick and I both met with him, and very intelligent, and really knew the system and really knew geothermal.
Yeah, he did some calculations on water usage that were humbling.
Yes,
That system just uses a ton of water,
right.
pure and simple. And I asked him, how efficient it was compared to a conventional air conditioning system. What do you say, like,
50%.
yeah, 40, 50%
45 to 50%
So
more
you
efficient.
probably knew that, Dustin, but
Not to that level. It
Yeah,
should be better, but the water usage.
yeah, I'm very familiar with geothermal systems, but I didn't think they were that much more efficient. And that's electric costs, obviously. But he had some pretty shocking numbers for changes on that, so.
Yeah, I was too, and just, I think the hardest part is what we still have to replace in that system. Waterworks did discuss, you know, fair value last night at their meeting. I did attend, and I asked for some additional time, because right now they have us capped at 750,000 gallons. So I asked for some additional time for us to get more feedback. Our McClure Engineering, that's overseeing our wastewater treatment plant, gave me names of two mechanical engineers that they have worked with. So I will be in contact with them. I just got that today. I will be in contact with them to maybe schedule something and keep you all posted. Because I think if we had a recommendation, we'd feel a lot better about what we're doing.
Yeah,
'Cause
well, we
it
need
is-
some
it is,
direction.
you know-
Yeah, I mean, there's gotta be
You
something
know,
we
I
can
can
do.
say, go ahead.
I was just saying, there's gotta be
Oh.
something we can do there.
I can say with a fair amount of certainty that, and I was on the council when that CRC and the system was approved, that we would not have approved a system that used hundreds of thousands of gallons a month. I mean, that just wasn't practical.
Well, wouldn't have approved it using the same water that, you know, everybody in the city's using, you know, would have used our own well or something.
Yeah.
I would imagine, it's just
Well, we
crazy they
looked
use
at
that
that.
much that's treated water.
We did look at that, having our own well, but again, that was pump and dump.
I'm glad we're looking at it from the two
Wow.
different angles. You know, let's get the practical pieces, the actual, you know, ones in that have done the systems and get a couple different opinions, you know, with Air Services and now Robbie. And then, yeah, let's, you know, put together an engineer. Not saying that engineers can guarantee and fix everything. Obviously, there was an engineer that designed that building in the first place. So not knocking any other engineers, I'm just pointing out the fact that it was still an engineer that built that building, and here we are. But if we combine, hopefully, the best advice from both of those sources, the practical ones that install them and service them versus the ones that design them, hopefully we can come up with something, because, yeah, it's good to know that the system is not misbehaving in a way most months, but I'm with Dick as well. I was like, wait, we went into it knowing it was gonna do that from city water? Because that was not the best move we probably could have made at that time. So, knowing that now, obviously, yeah, what options do we have to hopefully make it better long-term? Because, yeah, it's not,
Well, actually, at the time, what was told to the waterworks was the usage was not gonna be that much. It was gonna be like 1 million gallons a year.
a year. So we slipped a decimal or 12.
Yeah, yeah, that's a tricky area.
On that note, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And hope to see everybody next weekend.
For sure. Got my shirt.